Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Jazmynn Appleton, and I'm the Chief Director of Entrepreneurial Growth and Innovation at the Progress Center for Black Women here in Madison. We have a beautiful award-winning co-working space downtown right on the square. And today I am here with Emily, who is an attorney at the Law Entrepreneurship Clinic at UW-Madison. So if you want to introduce yourself, Emily, and then we'll hop into it. But basically today we're going to just be asking Emily some questions about the Law Entrepreneurship Clinic and how it can benefit business owners in the area.
Yeah, thanks, Jazmynn. So I'm Emily Buchholz. I'm the director of the Law and Entrepreneurship Clinic at the University of Wisconsin here in Madison. And I work alongside a core of three other attorneys who are full-time in the program with me running things. We have a couple of part-time attorneys as well. My background is as a small business attorney working with entrepreneurs in Minneapolis for many, many years before I moved here to Madison. So I bring that kind of big picture perspective of having worked in the space for a long, long time. Some of the attorneys on our staff have other specialties that they bring to the table too. So it's nice to have a group of us.
Awesome. Perfect. So just a bit of background too. We've been working with the Law Entrepreneurship Clinic since we launched Focus, which is our entrepreneurial training accelerator for Black entrepreneurs at the Progress Center. We launched in 2022 in the Law Entrepreneurship Clinic. Emily and her team, a group of students as well, has come to do a couple of workshops with our Focus entrepreneurs, just kind of letting them know about the legal side, of things when it comes to running and owning a business. And we also had them sit down and create some contract templates on spot for the business owner. So they have been a great partner with the Progress Center, a huge benefit to our entrepreneurs, and we truly do appreciate their partnership and their expertise. So we're just gonna go in and start asking some questions. So if you can kind of just explain overall, Emily, what the Law and Entrepreneurship Clinic is, what do you guys do and provide for business owners in the Madison area?
Yeah. It's a question we get a lot because transactional lawyers, like the work that we do, it's a really wide field. Like there are a bunch of different things that fit underneath it. So if you're running a business, we probably can help in some capacity. Just that's a starting point, is probably the answer is yes, we can help. We do a lot of work trying to figure out, like, should you form a limited liability company or some other kind of company? What's the best type for you? We help folks get those companies started. So actually filed with the state and any kind of paperwork that would be helpful for the company to have, we can help draft that. We talk to a lot of founders, if there's more than one person, about, well, how are you going to split the duties between you, and what are you each going to own? What are you each going to do? And getting the paperwork set up on the front end to really make that relationship healthy and productive, and put processes in place in case there are disagreements down the road that can be really helpful for folks. We do a lot of work with contracts, as you mentioned, Jazmynn. So drafting contracts, reviewing contracts. Anytime you're doing something valuable, or if you're like exchanging money, those are really good times to pause and think, should you have a contract in place? Do you feel like you can handle it yourself? Or maybe would it make sense to pull in an attorney to help you with it? We do a lot of intellectual property work. So all the branding efforts, people put a lot of effort into their brand, and it starts to mean something, like the brand itself is valuable. We can help you protect that, or at least understand what your rights look like. We can help folks make sure that the brand they want to develop is, sort of fair game, that there's nobody else who's already using something similar who could later come back and say, hey, stop, you can't actually use that name. I'm trying to think what else. We help folks with things like when you're ready to bring on workers, is it an independent contractor or an employee? So there's a very wide range and plenty of things I didn't even touch on, leases and all sorts of things that we can help with.
Perfect. Yes, you guys cover a wide array of topics when it comes to owning a business and protecting your business too. So it's super helpful. When do you think is a good time for business owners to reach out? Do you prefer business owners who are just getting started, who are currently up and operating for many, many years? Both? What does that look like?
Yeah, I think there are sort of two different things we see, and they're both helpful for the, hopefully anyway, that's, we're trying to be helpful to the client. So one would be like sort of at the beginning when what you might need is just some guidance, like am I on the right direction basically? And we talk to hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneurs across Wisconsin every year. So sometimes just talking to someone who's seen it many, many times can be helpful. That would look more like like a 30-minute conversation where we can just say, hi, tell me about your thing and let's talk about it and get you pointed in the right direction. And then the other type of service that we often do is actual legal work for people. So the touching base part can happen anytime throughout the business. Maybe you've been running for a long time and you just want to sort of pause and make sure everything's set up the way it should be. Or maybe you're brand new. That works great for like a 30-minute conversation. If you want to come in the program and have law students like actually do work for you, like draft a contract or form a business, it usually helps to be a little bit further along. Meaning like you've got a plan in mind. You don't have to have all the details figured out, but in general, like this is what I'm trying to do. Like there's something like actionable for the students to like do, like to work on.
Perfect. So you kind of got this question partially answered already, but what does the process look like when an entrepreneur does reach out to you? And what does that kind of look like as far as if there's a waiting list or wait time, or just kind of explaining some of the steps when someone reaches out to you for some assistance?
Yeah. So, one way that you could, depending on how you're working with the Progress Center, if you let them know that you've got stuff and you want to talk to a lawyer, sometimes we can do what Jazmynn referred to before, and like we'll come to you and there will be a group of people and we can just talk about whatever issues would be the most helpful and walk through in a group setting, answering people's questions. Sometimes you don't even know what you don't know. And so hearing other people ask those questions. So that would usually be a program like the Progress Center who is pulling it together and inviting us in. The other way is to go to our website. So both of the other things I mentioned, the one-on-one consulting and the working with a law student, those would both come in through our website. And we have an intake form on the website that you fill out and say, this is my thing, this is who I am, these are my questions, or this is what I want to talk about. And then usually within like a week after that, you'll get an invitation to schedule an appointment with one of the attorneys in our program. And whenever you get to that meeting, that will be your 30-minute block of time. The meetings do get full, but I'd say, within like a month or so, you should be able to get in to talk to an attorney and we can have the conversation to guide you. And at that time, we'll also see if there's any work that a law student could actually complete for you. And if so, that would be like a different phase of the engagement.
Perfect. And is there usually like a certain time of year when wait times can be a bit busy, or when you guys are, really actively working with a lot of entrepreneurs at once?
Um, well, from the entrepreneur side, it's just always rolling. All the entrepreneurs are up to all the things all the time. So I don't see too much ebb and flow there. Maybe a little bit in the summer where things, everybody's outside and enjoying themselves. So maybe it slows down a little bit there. Because we're an educational program, we on our side have some built-in ebbs and flows. So for example, we're gearing up to have about 30 students join us this fall. So the day after Labor Day, we're going to have a full crop of law students who are ready to go to do legal work for folks. And then the semester ends late November-ish, early December, and there's usually a bit of a pause on our end over, the holiday season, like December, and then a couple weeks into January. We're still here, we're still doing work, it's just a little slower. And then same thing for the summer. We're still here, all the attorneys are still employed by the program. We might have a fellow or one or two students working with us, but the client work itself slows down. So the conversations run all year long with attorneys, but getting like, if you have a thing like a contract that needs to be drafted, there is a bit of an ebb and flow to when that work might be accomplished.
Perfect. Thank you for explaining that. So, what are some commonly asked questions or just things overall that entrepreneurs are reaching out and asking about for the law clinic?
That is a really good question. Well, as I mentioned before, there's a wide variety of questions, but some of the more common ones, we talk to a lot of people about trademarks. You know, they want to know how to protect their thing. We work with a lot of artists who want to know about copyrights and like how do they protect their art from being sold by other people. So we do a lot of that. We do a lot of contract review, you know, for a lot of our clients are service providers. So they're out there doing work for someone and they get paid for their time. And so we can really do a lot of good by getting a contract template, we call it, in place where we're designing it on purpose for the business owner to be able to use it over and over and over again, right? Especially if it's related to your source of income. It's a good moment to like have a good thing in place that's gonna, you know, help your clients feel comfortable to sign with you, and then also make things really clear and as easy as hopefully they can be to get paid for the work that you're doing. We do talk to lots of people. There's a lot of confusion about the difference between independent contractors and employees. And so for small business owners, when they're trying to, you know, that if you need to hire someone, usually that's a good thing. It means that like something's going right and you're busy. So getting some guidance about what the difference is between those two things and like what needs to at least be on your radar to set yourself up for success. Those are some common examples.
Awesome. Thank you. So since we kind of touched on a bit about how or that you guys are able to help entrepreneurs protect their business ideas, those kinds of things, what are like just some quick recommendations that you would give to entrepreneurs who are wanting to protect like a business idea that they have, a product, those kinds of things?
That's a great question. So, one thing is just, you know, people get really excited about naming their business and developing that brand like initially. And so taking the time to make sure that there's no one else out there using something similar is a really good idea. So that would look like doing a thorough internet search. Like even if you just get on Google and like you really look and try to turn over some of those virtual rocks and see if anyone's there. You could go to the United States Patent and Trademark Office. It's actually not too hard to get on there and search and just see if anyone registered a trademark that's similar to the thing that you want to use. But the internet search really normally will get you like most of the way there. And the idea again isn't necessarily that you're gonna, you know, the idea is just you don't want to sink a bunch of time and money into something that later you realize you can't use. So, and then another way, another piece of advice would be thinking about using a non-disclosure agreement, like a short, straightforward agreement before you start talking to someone about your business or your idea even, to just say, hey, I'm going to keep your stuff confidential. You're going to keep my stuff confidential, and just set that expectation right away before you open up and start sharing that information. Yeah, I guess the third and final thing I'll say is a lot of people have fear about starting the business because they're worried someone's going to take their thing. And that can really like block people from moving forward. People may not know, but for at least for copyrights and for trademarks, that law will protect you even if you haven't registered anywhere. So if you're an artist and you paint something, you paint a painting and it's all done, that's your copyrighted thing, even though you didn't go to the copyright office and file anything, which means you can use the Circle C and tell people it's your copyrighted material. And it also means if someone takes it from you, you have legal rights to say, hey, you can't do that. And that's the same for trademark as well. So, if a trademark is unregistered, you can use the TM, kind of like up by the trademark, and let the world know that it's your trademark. So there's a lot more to that, obviously, but it's a threshold issue that you do have some protections, even if you haven't filed anything.
That's actually really good to know. I just learned something new too. So I appreciate you
Yeah.
pointing that out. Awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, and then going into the next question. So can you just reflect on a couple of success stories that you had with working with the entrepreneurs in our network and just overall what our partnership has looked like working with one another?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I love our partnership. I think it's one of my favorites. It is just like the location itself has really good energy. Every time I come to your space, I'm like, oh yay, I'm glad that I'm here. And the students get to come with me, which I love. It's really just we really benefit from it as well, getting our students into entrepreneurship and co-working spaces. So now I got all like waxy eyed about your space. What was your question? Like, I wish I was there right now. What
No,
was your
it's okay.
question,
No,
Jazmynn?
just just kind of talking overall what our partnership has looked like and how it's benefited the law clinic or just
Oh,
how
that's
it's reflected
right.
on your work. And then just also if you have a couple of success stories you can talk about too with the entrepreneurs in our network.
Thank you. Back on track. So, one of the things I notice is just the sense of relief that business owners feel, just relieved to talk to someone. And I think about this all the time because like if I go take my car to the mechanic, it is not a strength of mine, and I don't know what's wrong with it. And I just have this feeling of like, oh, something's not working and it's freaking me out. And someone knows what it is and they understand it and they can sort of get me in the right direction and make a plan, that sense of relief. And I see that, I see that on clients sometimes to just, get what they need and feel like, oh, okay, I'm on the right track. So that is not a single success story, but that is definitely an energy that we see over and over again. Um, and in terms of working together, I really liked that you mentioned it briefly, but we've come a number of times to talk about whatever's helpful, which is always fun. But one time we did a contract drafting workshop and we brought students and we brought a couple of attorneys from the program. And we just tried to get as much done as we could in whatever it was, Jazmynn, like 2 hours maybe or something like that, 2 or 3 hours. And I thought that was a really I don't know. I thought that was really cool to be thinking creatively about just like what do we all need, right? Students need that experience, your businesses needed contracts and like working collaboratively to try to meet those needs. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and a couple of things I really liked about our partnership too is that when we originally met, just to kind of talk about what the workshops would look like, you were very adamant on just really curating the workshops on what our entrepreneurs are needing and what they're saying that they want to see come out of this workshop. So to be able to kind of tailor the workshop around our entrepreneurs' needs was very, very helpful for one. And I really like too that you guys were able to offer some one-on-one work time with the entrepreneurs and come in and sit down with them and talk about some of their legal situations or questions one-on-one. Maybe if they had a couple questions that they didn't want to ask out loud or, those kinds of
Mm-hmm.
things. So we definitely really appreciated that too. And I can say one of the success stories that we seen come out of the partnership was when you guys did come and do the contract templates and Stephanie Pruitt, who owns Queen Peace Throne, came in and she was able to walk away with one of those contract templates and she completely raved about it. She's someone who is, she's doing collaborations out in the community and working with others. And she has some really, really great products that she wants to protect. So the fact that she was able to come in and get that was definitely a great thing for her. And I know has helped her with her overall business processes going forward. So we truly appreciate that. And I know she does too. She has, again, raved about it so many times and has referred other entrepreneurs to you guys as well because of that. So,
That's
yeah.
awesome. And am I thinking of the right person with earrings?
Yes. Yep.
So
The earring queen.
now that I know that those are her designs, I see them in the community all the time. And I've had to
Yes.
like stop myself now from every single time I see them being like, ah, amazing connection. So
Yes,
good. They're all over the
absolutely.
place. They're so cool.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's truly amazing to see some of those results come out of the workshops that we've had. So, that's really great. So, can you kind of explain like, um, let's see here. Um, Is there just anything else you think would be good to know for an entrepreneur who is interested in reaching out to you? Maybe what they should start preparing beforehand and those kinds of things.
Yes. So legal work can feel really overwhelming, and it feels that way to law students too. And after practicing for long enough, a long time of doing this, I have a deep appreciation for the way that common sense really drives business law. And I don't know if that's true for all areas of the law, but it certainly is for working with small businesses. When when clients come to us and they've thought through some of those like logistics piece of how is the relationship actually going to work. So I'm thinking, for example, if you're going to start like digital design business and you're going to do, brand work for people or something, thinking all the way down to like, how are you going to scope out the project? Is it going to be a project base, or is it going to be like on an hourly basis? And how do you think you're going to get paid? And sometimes we can offer suggestions, but starting to think through like, but in real life, how will they transmit money to you? Because when entrepreneurs come to us with at least an initial idea of what some of those like logistic for real in real life pieces will look like, we can use, draft documents and provide guidance that's much more useful because it's tailored to at least a first pass of the entrepreneur kind of actually thinking through like those details. And again, the details aren't written somewhere, anywhere. It's more just the common sense aspect of like, how is this really going to run, and looking at it from that 360 perspective, and then bringing some of those initial thoughts with you to talk to the attorney.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's definitely very important to kind of consider some of those things when thinking about reaching out to the legal clinic. So just kind of touching base too on, preparing beforehand, are you guys also able to help entrepreneurs figure out like how they should structure the business based on what they're telling you? Or if it maybe needs to be a nonprofit?
Yes. And actually, that is another question. When you ask me, what do we see a lot of? We do see a lot of that. And especially, I don't know what it is in the past, like maybe decade. I think there are so many people doing good work in the world, and it just doesn't fit very well into the box of a nonprofit or the box of a for-profit. And so there's some conversation that we just have to have about like, here are the options and what are the pros and cons and how are we going to make it fit? What was your question again, Jazmynn? Sorry, I got lost on the nonprofit track.
No, it's okay. So just overall, how entrepreneurs or getting advice about how entrepreneurs should structure their business and maybe if it should be a nonprofit or not.
Thank you. Yes, gotcha. So we can help figure out the end game. It's not like we need people to come in and say, I've already done all the legal work and I know I want to be a C Corp or whatever. Not that sort of conclusion, but what's helpful is to think through like what your underlying interests are. That's a phrase that we sometimes use, but just meaning like what types of things do you value? So let's take the entity example. Do you want it to be easy to run? Do you want to like get investment finance, like funding right away? The sort of the goals basically that you're after. And then with some of that as guidance, we can help figure out. And I would say like, I hope that people will come to us even if they don't have any of this figured out, and they have not, because we can also ask those questions. Or honestly, sometimes we talk to entrepreneurs and then we can give a more detailed list of like, here's what you can think about, and then come back around when you're ready with some of that information. So we certainly can help make those decisions, and anything that the businesses can do to think about really their goals. Do they want to sell the business? Do they want to grow it? Do they want to just like keep running it and making money for themselves and their family? Those goals can be really helpful in helping us guide you forward with the legal piece of it.
Perfect. Well, yeah, this was a lot of great information. Again, the Law Entrepreneurship has been a great partner with the Progress Center for Black Women and has tremendously helped our entrepreneurs in our network really get to where they need to be legally within their business. So we do appreciate all the work and the expertise you guys have provided. So going into how people can reach out to you, of course, anyone in our network, you're more than welcome to reach out to me and I can definitely connect you to Emily. But what are some other ways that people can reach out to you and your team?
Well, we are pretty active in the community. So yes, we work with Progress Center for Black Women, and it's one of our favorites, but we also go all over Madison and all over the state of Wisconsin. So depending on where you're located too, just so you know, we every single year are going out into communities that are not Madison and not Milwaukee to try to connect with entrepreneurs everywhere. So keep an eye on the entrepreneurship space and you might see one of our names popping up there. The biggest thing, I guess I'll just say again, is to go to our website, which do you think, Jazmynn, that could you like link the website on the YouTube video or something?
Yeah, we'll definitely link the
Okay.
website on here as well.
Okay, so go to the website and find the apply for services tab and click on it and fill in your information. Just tell us what you're up to, even if you're at the very beginning, and submit that form and that'll help you get connected to the attorneys. And once you're connected with us and we have that initial conversation, we can make a plan if you're going to continue to work with a student to get some stuff done, or if we can give you some guidance and then you'll circle back around when you're ready. And all of that is hopefully really helpful.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Emily, for taking the time to do this today with us. This is super helpful and helps bring awareness to the law clinic and how they can reach out to you to get some legal help with their business. So thank you again.
You are so welcome anytime.